games is long. Yes, time between games is long. A couple things that are happening with that. So in the February update, we have reduced the warm-up time. The warm-up time is basically like you blink and you miss it. So no more like I'm waiting around for a minute after like seeing like 3 screens of me waiting around for a minute before I get to actually shoot somebody. So that's happening. As far as like a continuous lobby, like that's the ultimate goal. Like the idea would be, you know that lobby where you see everybody on pillars?
Franklin.
The idea is that we would like to have like that be the screen that you come out to after a while, and finding places where we can reduce, like, you know, you've got the podium at the end of the game, and then you wait for the scoreboard to pop up, and then, you know, you go back to, right now the flow is you go back to the main menu, and then you have to do the whole process again. Yes, that's actually like in the works. There's main menu overhaul, gameplay flow overhaul, as in flow, as in like when I talk about gameplay flow, I mean clicking from the main menu to what game you're selecting to how you get into that game, all that stuff.
I've been playing quite a bit of Quake Champions lately. A lot. With 400 hours logged on Steam, it's my favorite game right now. There are, however, some areas that could use improving, specifically in the matchmaking and match continuity. One of the standout examples that I want to talk about here is the time it takes to get from the main menu to in-game in control of your character, and about the business of shooting. I'll be using some other games I play as a comparison, and the hardware it's installed on will be included for full disclosure. The games I'll be doing a comparison with today are Battlefield 1, Call of Duty World War II, and the predecessor to Quake Champions, the last Quake game, Quake Live. Both Quake games and Call of Duty are installed on my Samsung SSD, and due to the sheer size of Battlefield 1, it's installed to my secondary 7500 RPM mechanical drive. One thing to note before we begin the comparisons is Quake Champions is an older style of shooter. It's still in early access and doesn't have the same player population as Battlefield or Call of Duty. That being said, there are still things Quake can take from either of these titles, and that is the ease of getting a player into a match and keeping players engaged and on server between maps. The way I'll be taking a look at these games is in 2 parts. First, the time it takes to get you in game, and second, how it handles the process of map switching and keeping continuity and player engagement during the next map. Battlefield does things rather simply without many loading screens in between. From the main menu, you simply select which mode you want to play. You are then taken to the matchmaking screen, and then it loads the map. There are interactable elements within the UI. While you're waiting for the map to load, you could open loot boxes, check your weekly or daily challenge progress, or choose a new one. You could even browse for other games while waiting. The load screen is actually the longest part of getting into a BF1 map, but remember, this time would have been much shorter if this game was installed on an SSD. Taking a look at the end of a match reveals a few other ideas that would be well suited to Quake Champions. At the end of a game, you're immediately greeted with a map vote that the players get to decide on, and from that point forward it begins loading the next map. The option to quit is available to you at any time. During the next 40 or so seconds while the map loads, you're free to check the scoreboard and look up various statistics and highlights from the last game played. Once the map is loaded, there's a 1-minute period to get everyone loaded in, and from that point, that's it, the game begins. Now let's talk about Call of Duty. The Call of Duty series is a very controversial one and is known to get a lot of hate, partly because of its yearly releases and lack of innovation between games. It's a popcorn action FPS for the masses, and it knows it. Say what you want about Call of Duty though, no one's ever accused it of having a clunky matchmaking system, and it doesn't disappoint here. From the main menu to boots on the ground in an astounding 45 seconds, it's one of the fastest of all the games tested.
Check your weapons. Hunt the enemy.
And it keeps with the spirit of Call of Duty as a fast arcadey shooter where you can jump in and get a match started really quick, something that Quake desperately needs. Looking at the end of the match, we have one unskippable play of the game screen where players are taken to the back of the lobby. Call of Duty takes it a step further than Battlefield, where all manner of things are possible during the 1-minute load of the next map. You can change weapon loadouts, customize your character and nameplate, check scoreboards and personal stats, and even go to the firing range. At the end of the 1 minute, the next map loads, and that's it, you're back in game. Lastly, let's take a look at Quake Live. From the main menu, you select a server and you're in the game fragging within seconds. It's so fast, it speaks for itself, really.
Welcome to Quake Live. Blue wins the round. Perfect.
And finally, let's have a look at how things are currently done in Quake Champions.
Ranger reporting.
I need to find a slip gate out of this place.
When we have a look at how Quake handles the end of a match, everything seems to have been done backwards. There's a battle report and stats you can check out, but as soon as you opt in for a rematch, you can never access that information again. And why is selecting to stay on a server not the default behavior in the first place? In any case, the rematch option, a so-called stay and play, has never really worked since it was implemented back last summer during the move to early access on Steam. As you can see here, it just ends up booting you back to the main menu anyway, where you have to start the process all over again. For 10 minutes of action, you have to wade through all of this garbage. I think fixing the matchmaking and the way the game gets players in and out of a map seamlessly is key to player retention and keeping them interested. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below.